Well, I have not spent very much time talking about Kanye West on this show, and that's partly because I figure you're getting quite enough Kanye content from every other podcast in the world. It's also because a celebrity going around and saying outlandish things is not the kind of story that I find terribly interesting. I think there are much more important things happening in the world, and I try to focus on those. But yesterday's events do, I think, call for some commentary. Now that the man has fully completed the process of his own self-destruction, there are some things that I think we can learn, crucial takeaways. And I would like to spend a little bit of time talking about them. So, as you've no doubt already heard, Kanye appeared on Alex Jones's show yesterday afternoon. The interview is the capstone on a week that began with the rapper storming out of Tim Pool's podcast after Tim offered gentle pushback to Kanye's ideas. He did not storm out on Alex Jones, however, though perhaps considering what he said, it would have been better for him if he had. Again and again throughout the interview, West, wearing a ski mask completely covering his face for the entire conversation, insisted on a point that he felt like it was very important to make. He wanted to make it clear that he thinks Hitler and the Nazis get a bad rap. And here he is introducing that idea.
That's right. You're not Hitler. You're not a Nazi. You don't deserve to be called that and demonized.
Well, I see good things about Hitler also. I love everyone, and Jewish people are not going to tell me you can love, us, and you can love what we're doing to you with the contracts, and you can love what we're pushing with the pornography. But this guy that invented highways, invented the very microphone that I use as a musician. You can't say out loud that this person ever did anything good, and I'm done with that. I'm done with the classifications. Every human being has something of value that they brought to the table, especially Hitler.
Especially Hitler. And somehow that was not the craziest moment of the show. Later, Kanye launched into some sort of puppet act, making fun of Benjamin Netanyahu and using a bottle of Yoo-hoo and a net as puppets. And it took me a while to figure that one out because I'm good with the puns, but net and Yahoo, okay. And it's hard to make heads or tails out of this, but here it is.
I was tired of picking up the Yahoo and the netting, so for now, he's just netting. I know some people call him BB. No, some of you call him Yahoo, but we're gonna call him netting. What you want, netting? Hey, yay, right after this, I'm gonna say you're crazy. I'm gonna take your family away from you. We're not done with you yet. You cannot cause free thought. We have to control the history books. We have to control the banks, and we have to go and kill people. Also, we're in the pedophilia.
So, and in a little while, hopefully you're going to take the mask off because is this actually yay here?
Right. Okay, then. And he also returned to his Hitler fanboy routine, like I said, several times, but perhaps most notably with this.
I like Hitler.
I don't like Hitler. And I know you're trying to be shocking with that.
I'm not trying to be shocking. I like Hitler. I do not. The Holocaust is not what happened. Let's look at the facts of that. And Hitler has a lot of redeeming qualities.
So he said those exact words, I like Hitler, multiple times. At other points in the show, he also said that we need to stop dissing the Nazis. He doesn't want to diss them. He said he doesn't like describing Nazis as evil. And then Kanye went home and hopped on Twitter, where he tweeted an image of a Star of David combined with a swastika. And he also tweeted multiple times in support of Balenciaga, claiming that God loves the company, and then saying this, quote, I stand by Balenciaga and denounce all witch hunts, and I cancel culture. Jesus is king. Ending trafficking doesn't start or end with a fashion campaign, for Christ's sake. Well, no, Kanye, we should absolutely cancel companies that put out BDSM ads featuring children. They should be canceled, condemned, boycotted. I'm against witch hunts too, unless there's an actual witch to hunt. But I suppose Kanye had already defended Hitler, so why not child pornographers while he's at it? Eventually, Elon Musk suspended Kanye from Twitter, what appears to be, as far as I could tell, a temporary 12-hour suspension, ostensibly because of the swastika image, which Elon said is an example of inciting violence, which is absurd, obviously. You either believe in free speech or you don't. Elon is running the platform as a free speech platform. or he isn't. It's one or the other. He said in the past that people are free to post what they want as long as they aren't directly calling for violence against another individual or group. Well, Kanye did not directly call for violence. What he posted and what he said to Alex Jones can certainly be described as objectionable, insane, outrageous, immoral, along with many other similar adjectives. But free speech means you're free to say objectionable, insane, outrageous, immoral things. Of course, now there's an argument you could make, and I've seen some people make this argument, that maybe Elon suspended Kanye for his own good, kind of like a mercy-killing approach on social media, just to get him to cool down, stop talking, put down the shovel that he was using to bury himself. And since Elon owns the platform, he has every right to make that call if he wants to. But if that's what Twitter is now, if Twitter is a kingdom and Elon is the king and he gets to make the rules as he goes along, arbitrary as they may be, then he should say that. Again, he has every right to run it that way. It is his platform. He bought it fair and square. But he should say so for the sake of honesty and transparency. What he's actually said is that there will be free speech. And if that's what he's claiming, he should follow through on that, even in these hard case situations. Now, as for the rest of the story, first of all, it should go without saying. I would certainly hope that it does. But just to be clear about this, Hitler was a degenerate, mass-murdering lunatic. So if you're going to put your own credibility on the line and your reputation and your name and your career and everything to defend someone or to point out their redeeming qualities, quote unquote, it shouldn't be for the sake of one of history's greatest monsters. And not incidentally, Hitler was also a man who, by the way, would have thrown Kanye himself into the gas chamber without hesitation. Kanye is rallying to the defense of a man and of a group that would have considered him subhuman because of his race. So this is pure self-loathing, self-immolating madness. And on that point, second, it's hard not to laugh about some of this because it's so awkward and weird, and that's just the natural response when you see something awkward and weird. But in truth, it's actually not funny. This man is having a mental breakdown. He's losing his mind. He is sick. He is not well. He is in very bad shape. Nothing could be more clear. And yet he has no one in his life, apparently, who cares about him or loves him because there's no one talking any sense to him. He surrounded himself with vultures and parasites who have leached onto him and are feeding off of his notoriety and encouraging him to plunge even deeper into insanity for their own benefit. It is a pitiful spectacle to behold. Kanye West was truly once an artistic genius and an important cultural voice once. But now he's eating himself alive on camera to the delight of the gawking crowd. Kanye has built a bonfire and thrown himself into it. If there was ever anyone in his life who was willing to pull him away from the flames, he's obviously cut them out at this point, leaving only the enablers and the coattail riders. And now he is hopelessly and helplessly spiraling into the abyss. And that's what we're watching. This is not an excuse for Kanye. It's simply an observation. Like, it's very clear. The guy's just not well. And the fact is that fame can drive anyone into madness. I mean, once you reach a certain level of fame, you're living something that can barely be described as a human existence. You become, especially these days, a product, a brand, an entity. You're no longer viewed as a person, but you are viewed. You're not viewed as a person, but you are viewed by everyone all the time. You are on display all the time. You have none of the anonymity that normal people take for granted. No privacy, no ability to ever be just sort of a face in the crowd. And when you're at Kanye's level, you're so famous that the people around you can become famous secondhand, right? And so you find yourself surrounded by self-interested fame whores who continually push you into the spotlight so that they can have a piece of it for themselves. And if you're already prone to eccentricity, as all artists are, this kind of life can quite easily destroy you, which is why through history we have seen, now the self-destruction takes many forms. This is a rather unique form, but certainly, more common things like artists, succumbing to drug abuse, alcoholism, suicide, those sorts of things. Again, this is not an excuse for Kanye. It's just it's an attempt at an explanation as to what we're seeing here. Third point, and perhaps most importantly, I would hope that Kanye West's psychotic break, which is what this is, would be enough to finally dissuade conservatives from falling madly in love with any celebrity who says one thing they agree with. You know, Kanye West was talking about this thing or that thing, kind of babbling and over the years, and he's made one or two comments that conservatives liked, and suddenly he was a conservative hero. So on the right, we've been desperate for celebrity approval and celebrity endorsement for so long, and it's pathetic. And it's given rise to this unfortunate habit of latching onto any famous person who ever so mildly or tentatively affirms our position on any topic. I would hope that this would be enough to break that celebrity fawning spell. There's nothing wrong with agreeing with a celebrity or even congratulating them when they take a stand on an issue. Like, you know, a month ago or a month and a half ago, which feels like a million years now, but when he came out and spoke up for the unborn. There's nothing wrong at the time, as I did, saying that's the correct view. I'm glad he said that. So there's that. That's one thing. But what we shouldn't be doing is making them into a standard bearer, a hero, a champion of the cause. You know, we shouldn't be doing that automatically just because they're famous. Especially, by the way, you know, one thing is like somebody is famous and then they come along out of nowhere and they say one quote conservative thing and then they get put on this pedestal, and it's like they, along with all the other reasons why that's a problem to respond that way, it's also they haven't earned it. You know, they haven't been in the cause fighting for this. They haven't done anything for it. They just happen to say one thing. And in many cases, these are people who, up to that point, had been contributing to the cultural rot. And then they say one thing, and it's an unearned position, which means that you also can't trust the person. Like they're going to disappoint you. And if I was optimistic, I would say that maybe the right will be smarter about this kind of thing from now on. But I'm not optimistic. In fact, some on the right seem to have decided that they've boarded the Kanye ship and now have to go down with it, which is also sad. That's the word of the day here. Sad. Because you don't need to. If you defended him in the past and you were on the Kanye thing, and it's okay to say now, this guy's got problems, and then just move on with your life. You can do that. I've seen some defending him even still, looking for excuses, coming up with all these outlandish copes and rationalizations, claiming, for example, that Kanye's pro-Hitler stuff was just him advocating for radical Christian love. Love thy enemy, they say. But that's not what Kanye said. He made it clear explicitly, he likes Hitler. He didn't even say love. He said, I like him. Like. Okay? The Bible does not call us to like everyone, much less mass murdering lunatics. He said he thinks he has a lot of redeeming qualities. A lot. He said we shouldn't diss the Nazis. No, that's not loving thy enemy. That's just insane, is what that is. It's also, we should note, a really big favor to the left. Okay? Who benefits from all this? Well, they benefit from it. In fact, if I was going to come up with some conspiracy theory to explain Kanye's pro-Hitler pivot, I would say that he's a leftist on a kamikaze mission to embarrass and discredit as many conservatives as possible. Now, I don't think that, okay, that's not the theory that I hold. I think he's simply mentally ill, as I've already covered, but that's the only conspiracy theory that even would begin to make sense if you're looking for one. Because the left is the only beneficiary here. That's why they're so gleeful about Kanye's plunge into madness. They're not upset about it. They don't think it's sad. They can't get enough of it. They love it. They want him to be trending with all this crazy stuff. They love every minute of it. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they love it? I mean, some of their ideological opponents hitched their wagon to Kanye, and then Kanye proceeded to drive right off a cliff with those people attached, which is a very fortunate turn of events for the left, but not for anyone else, and especially not for Kanye himself, who is a troubled man who needs help, not attention. Which is why, now that I've said my piece, I will go back to what I was doing before and not give it to him. And that'll do it for this portion of the show as we move over to the aforementioned members block. Hope to see you there. If not, talk to you on Monday. Godspeed.